Hey everyone, welcome to the Elite Real Estate Podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Samuel Popple, and this is my co-host, William McClellan. What's up, Will?
What's happening, Sam? I'm back in the lab with you. Pretty stoked for today's guest. Today's going to be pretty fun. So
definitely. So today we have someone that's a really cool guy. His name's Colby Nealms. I actually met him both kind of at the gym, and then I saw him in my restaurant, Clean Eats, and then we talked about real estate. And so, kind of just a great connection. But Colby is just a great guy. He's got an awesome business, 850 Off Market. He really brings a lot of class to wholesaling. Some of the stories he's told me about of how he's really helped people out of some jams, but then at the same time was able to still make a profit. But it's just unbelievable. Some of the things he's ideas he's had, and I can't wait for him to share them. Both my partner Will and then our whole audience here, as well as myself learns more. So without further ado, let's welcome Colby Nealms, the man with the signature mustache.
Hey guys, thanks for having me on.
Yeah, man.
Thanks for having me on, guys. I appreciate it.
Yeah, man. Thanks for being here. Really,
definitely excited. So, but anyway, I'll let kind of Will take us off. Here since this is your guys' kind of first time even meeting virtually.
Yeah. So I'm really excited because this is kind of our first interview where we're hopping in with a guest that we aren't 100% connected on. So like this is really cool, and I've actually been on your website, seen some of your commercials, and dude, I love your logo. So as we jump right in, like tell us a little bit about life before real estate, like childhood, high school, college, what kind of career paths you maybe were in before, and how you got here.
Yeah, definitely. So I was born and raised in South Louisiana, so I'm a transplant, of course, not from Florida. Most of the people, it seems like, that are here in Pensacola came from somewhere else. But I was born in South Louisiana, played football in high school, and then went on to play at a D3 school up in North Louisiana in college. So I kind of I like to tell people that's kind of I learned a lot, playing football. That was taught me a lot of things, a lot of life lessons, on hard work, determination, overcoming obstacles, things like that. And
what position did you play?
Oddly enough, I played offensive line. I don't look like I used to be that big, but I'm about 190 pounds now. But I used to be about 275, 280 back in the day when I played.
Hey, I want to give a shout out. I want to give a shout out to dude, because like when I first saw him at the gym, he was going hard on a spin bike, the first time I noticed him. And I was like thinking, this guy's like always been fit, like Jack. Well, then once we became Facebook friends, I saw he had a fat pick too. Like this guy was like a big boy that slimmed on down, so he's like I said, I'm in the same boat. I used to be over 400 pounds. So, like I said, I always love a great weight loss success story. So I forgot to give that shout out to Colby as well.
Dude,
I appreciate that.
That's huge, man. Congrats. So actually, not to divert too early, but how do you think like weight loss and fitness journey kind of, correlates with your day-to-day business and things?
It's odd because it's got a lot to do with it. I think they're kind of the same thing. Weight loss and business are kind of the same thing. Your results are never going to be instant. You know what I mean? You're going to come in every day and you're going to put in a lot of sweat, a lot of work, a lot of equity just to make those little short gains every day. And, that's one of my favorite things when people ask me, well, how did you lose all that weight? Like I'm about to give them some, genius, it was a magic pill. It's like, I just went to the gym and ate clean for like 6 years straight. Like that's just all it was.
Right.
It was just a total lifestyle change, which, has a lot to do with business too. I mean, same thing in business, how you're going to be successful. You're just going to grind it out every day and keep doing the little things. And eventually those little things start piling up into the big things and the success starts rolling. So, I mean, it definitely, I think a lot of that's helped transition over into my business. And a lot of that comes from, my football days and my playing career and all the coaches that I played for, just that work ethic and just, the never giving up, the not quitting. I've been called stubborn once or twice because I'm one of those ones that I won't give up on anything. I really don't let anything die until it's not done until it's done, and I always think that there's a way to work it out. If there's a problem, there's a solution. The issue is we just don't know what the solution is. We just have to keep trying until we figure out the solution to be able to solve the problem.
Dude, heck yeah. So obviously that's where your success is driven from. I mean, that's just getting to know you right now. It's like, man, I'm already fired up. I need to go run 5 miles, So you guys are just killing it. But yeah, so tell us a little bit about playing in college. And you said you learned a lot. Football, taught you a lot of lessons that kind of correlated over into business. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, I played at a smaller D3 school. I was, I wasn't, when I graduated high school, I was actually small. So I was playing offensive line in high school, but I was about 210 pounds when I was playing. But I got recruited by a smaller D3 school because of my footwork and my speed, because they were like, we can put weight on you. So, they ended up pushing me. I gained weight. I got bigger. I was able to play offensive line. So I wasn't playing D1, but I decided to play D3 because it was somewhere I could actually play, because I wanted to play. I just didn't want to stand on the sidelines just to say I was on, a college football team. And, I was
Sure.
just there, standing there. I wanted to play. So, and I played for quite a few good coaches, and learned a lot, man. Really just about just the hard work and determination and what it really takes, I think that's one of the things that, not just football, but organized sports, especially when you have a good coach, can teach you in general, that can carry on into life, into business, in your job. It's that, it's teamwork. Everything that we do over here in this office, I do, I'm not the smartest person in the office. I'm not the best person in the office. That's the thing. It's just like a team, just like a football team. You're going to surround yourself with the best at each position. And it's the same thing here in business. You know what I mean? That's what we do here. I mean, I want to have the best acquisition managers, the best cold callers, the best lead managers, because those people are experts in their fields. I'm not an expert, at calling leads on the phone or acquiring properties. My area of expertise is the selling side, on the disposition of the properties. So, that's one of the main things that I learned really from my sports background, is that, you really everybody runs in their own lane. You've got your experts, you let them do what they're good at, and everybody carries their own weight, and the whole team's going to succeed if everybody's carrying their weight and doing what they're supposed to.
Dude,
Easy
I love
transition
that.
there.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
I love that too, but go ahead, Sam.
Go ahead. Okay, well, yeah, I was just gonna say that, I actually was getting really excited as you were kind of naming all the team members, that runs your, business today. But that kind of, led me into, thinking, I'm kind of on the coach's level. Who was kind of like the first person that kind of inspired you to jump into real estate? Who was that person?
I don't know if it wasn't really a person. It was more just one of those things that I knew it was something I always wanted to do. Ever since I can remember back since I was in college, my wife joked all the time that I always used to say I was going to be in real estate. And it took me probably 20 years to get there. But it was one of those things where I always wanted to get into real estate, always wanted to do real estate, but I just didn't know how it was going to happen or where it was going to come from. And so, I've had several jobs in sales. I've been in sales ever since I got out of college. And that was there was really no real person. It was just kind of more of like the right time. It was back in 2020. I was able to get it. I got a job with a real estate company out of Mobile doing wholesale for them. And that's kind of what got me into real estate, and where I really started to learn, the business and kind of what goes on in real estate. And it was really getting into it where I kind of realized that, hey, what we're doing is great, but I really think there's a better way to do this. You know what I mean? I think there's a better way that everybody can win, where it's just, in real estate, where it's not just one side winning, where it's everybody can win. The seller can win, the buyer can win. That's what I've always loved about real estate, is there's profit, that if you do it the right way, everybody can make money. There should not be just one. Nobody should be losing in real estate. Everybody should be winning because of the amount of profits that are involved in every deal.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. Yeah, the transitions really nicely just from having a coach standpoint. I'm sure being coached and, like you said, staying in your lane is like a really great perspective that maybe in some of those other previous careers others weren't privy to, but you did. So you said, yeah, man, I know I can make this work. So that kind of transitions right into what you were talking about, is like, you have these teams and you seemed like you found the right people to do the right things. For our listeners, can you kind of go in a little bit of depth on what you do and how you formulated these teams and how you found these experts in their specific lanes?
Yeah. So our team basically it's not a large team. We don't have a ton of people, but we've got a lead manager and a cold caller, and then I've got an executive assistant, and then we've got a acquisitions manager, and then I handle the dispositions manager job. And basically what all those parts are is your lead managers and your cold callers are on the phones all day long. You know, they're constantly talking to people who may want to sell their house for cash. And I mean, we're really I mean, we can sell any house. I mean, if your house is retail ready and you don't want to list it with a traditional realtor because you don't want to deal with, you know, having to leave the house for showings and having to keep it in show condition and some of the things that, you know, people just don't like to deal with versus the way we kind of handle a sale. You know, we'll do those deals too, but we're mainly looking for the people who are not going to list with a traditional realtor because their house is not going to pass inspection. You know, the roof is bad. It needs another roof. It needs an AC unit, you know, it needs some updates and they just don't have the money to do it. So they're not really able to accurately, properly sell the house and, you know, get top dollar out of it. And so that's the kind of people we're looking for and we're working with. So we send out a lot of mail. We do a lot of phone calls. So our lead managers are on the phone all day long talking to people. And the biggest thing that we're trying to do, I mean, that we have a list of questions that they're asking, but I mean, first and foremost, it's not really, you know, what's the house, you know, what's up with the house. It's more or less, what's your situation? What, you know, what kind of situation are you in? Are you facing foreclosure? You know what I mean? Is the house, did you inherit the house and you have no idea what to do with it? You know, you're not sure where to even start. Did you inherit it and it needs to be probated and you don't even know where to go with that, or you know where to start, but you don't have the money to pay the attorney to get that process started in the first place? Those are really the things we're looking for is what's your current situation, because that's what we're trying to do is help these people in these situations. Because that's one thing when I got into real estate, you know, working for the company I was prior before I started my own business was, you know, that there was tons of people out there and every single one of them was in a different situation. And it was a tough spot. You know, it was a spot that they really feel like they don't have any help. They don't have anybody trying to help them and they're just kind of stuck. And that's what we want to do first and foremost. And from there, it's like, you know, the way we like to look at it is we're more of I wouldn't call us wholesalers or anything like that, investors. We're more of like a real estate consultant. We want to come in, and at the end of the day, if we're sitting in your living room running an appointment because our lead manager set one up, if my acquisition manager's there, he knows that our one goal is you need to get out of this house. That's why you call us here. Whatever the reason may be, you got to get rid of the house and you've got to get out of it. Our goal is to do that as fast as we possibly can for the best way we possibly can to get you the most money we can. Sometimes, you know, that may be us buying the house. Sometimes that may be us, you know, selling it to one of our investors. Sometimes that may be us listing it on the MLS for you and selling it. Sometimes that may be us partnering with them to flip the house to get maximum dollar out of it so we can all make some money and they can walk away with money in their pocket just versus getting out from under a mortgage. So it's really I like to say we're more of a consultant than we are of, you know, a wholesaler or real estate investors, because at the end of the day, we're just really here to go through what all the options are and what's really going to be the best option. And there are a lot of times that we'll tell people, hey, look, I don't think we're a great fit for you. Like, you should probably call a realtor and list this house because it's going to make more sense for you to do it that way. Or, you know, if it's like, well, they've got 3 other offers from 3 other people and they're better than ours. Like, hey, look, that sounds like it's a better offer than ours. You probably should take that offer. You probably shouldn't take our offer because this one sounds better. If that's a real offer, you should go with that one. And that's one of the things we've tried to do is make it more seller centric and really put the seller first. Because at the end of the day, that's what we're trying to do here is we're really trying to help people. You know, I know we get a bad rap in this business sometimes, but that's kind of one of our main things is we want to help people get to their next steps. You know, where are you trying to go? What's your next steps? And we're going to help you get there.
Man, that's awesome. A real estate consultant. I think that's really awesome. I wish more people, you know, throughout the whole industry had that same view, right? And then there wouldn't be a bad rap because what you're doing is really incredible. Especially like being open and honest with the seller, right? Like, hey, you have a better opportunity. It makes sense. You know, thanks for answering our call. We can make other calls. We want you to have a positive, you know, thought on us and our business. And, you know, I honestly think that goes tenfold, right? Like people are going to say like, hey, we talked to this person.
I'm sure that leads into future business and stuff, you know, for them too. Like if that's not be the deal that time, they might then refer, you know, someone who's, you know, a better deal in the future for you guys. So no, I definitely see that too. But one of the things you kind of even said in there, which brought me back to the conversation, you know, you and I had prior, some of the situations you helped you was, tell us about, you know, some of those, break down some of those examples you gave. You know, like I like the one of the ones you said was you might help them flip the house, so like, which I believe gave me an example of that where, they like signed something over to you and then you'd paid for the improvements and then sold the house and did a profit split. Wasn't that something like that?
Yes, yeah, that is. It's something newer that we just started doing, and it's something we're actually really excited about. It's kind of, we think, going to be a bigger part of our business than wholesale going forward, just because, the current market we're in right now, and us specifically in Florida, the rates have gone up, but you have a lot of these people that are having trouble paying their mortgages and are facing foreclosure now. And it's not because they have a high rate. Most of these people have, a 2%, 3%, 4% mortgage because, they bought the house 2 or 3 years ago when the rates were great. The problem is the insurance is killing them. The insurance rates going up we're noticing, starting to affect people. We've had several deals that, people were in foreclosure or couldn't make the payments anymore because their monthly payments have just jumped too high because their insurance costs went up, 45% year over year. And that's, throwing their payments and stuff out of whack. So we're starting to notice there's a lot more of that going on. And that's one of the areas we're trying to focus on, because at the end of the day, somebody facing foreclosure, they're in a tough spot. And 9 times out of 10, if they're facing foreclosure, especially with the market the way it is now on the resale side with the higher rates, it was easy to, even if you were in foreclosure 2 years ago, to turn around and sell the house and still be able to walk away with a profit on it and have money to go on to your next steps, whether that's, you're buying another house, or some people are going RVing, or, apartments, or whatever it may be. But nowadays, the prices have dropped a little bit as far as overall sale price, because just the rates that people are having to pay, prices are not as high as they were. So there's not a lot of room in these houses. And a lot of times it's people facing foreclosure where the house might need work. So one of the things that we've kind of been testing out, and we've done a couple of deals so far. We've done the one I was telling Sam about, and then the other one that we've got now that we're actually about to close on and do. And essentially what we're doing is, with these foreclosure deals, like there's one we've got right now where she's $28,000 behind on the mortgage. It hasn't been paid in a year. And that's, for most people, that's just impossible. They're never going to get out of that. That's just impossible. They're going to lose the house to the bank. And, and if you lose the house to the bank, equity or not, you're not getting anything. And it was a scenario where, the house is in great shape. It's livable. The roof doesn't leak. There's nothing wrong with it, but the roof is old. The HVAC's old. She's done some updates in the kitchen, but the rest of the house needs to be updated. It's not really completely updated. And so this is one where we were like, hey, look, if her thing was, I just need to get out the mortgage, I want to be out of it. And we were like, well, what if we can get you out of the mortgage, but we can also make it to where you can walk away with a little cash too? And she was like, that would be absolutely amazing. And so what we kind of put together is, in this particular situation, we're going to close on the house subject to the existing mortgage. So we're not actually going to have to close on the house, but what we're going to do is catch up the mortgage. So we're going to come in and pay the $28,000 in the arrears, catch up on her mortgage, get her current, and then we're going to go ahead and we're going to put the money in and renovate the house. And we're going to spend about another 30 or 40 grand finishing the renovations. Then at that point, we're going to list the house and sell it. And then once we do that, based on how much profit we make, there's going to be a profit split. So if we make above X amount, we'll cover our costs, plus we'll make some profit, and the seller's going to walk away with some money in their pocket. And it's all tied to the same sliding scale. So if we make more money and it ends up being, a home run deal like we think it can, the seller can actually walk away with some substantial money, that they never. And this is a situation that there's no way she could have ever done anything but let the bank take the house, without us doing that.
So cool. Yeah. So cool. That kind of was.
I thought that was such a cool story that I wanted to make sure, you shared, and I want Will to hear, because it's like someone in a lose-lose situation all of a sudden showing a win, so. Yeah.
And the way we look at it, are we making less profits than we could? Absolutely. Like this person is in a bind. We could have said, hey, look, this is what we can do and we can get you out of the mortgage, and it is what it is. And she probably would have said yes. But at the end of the day, that's not the kind of business we want to run, because that's not the type of, people we are. Like my business partner and I actually generally do care about these people. That's why we're in this business. I believe, real estate investors, I think all of us in general just get a bad rap as being these greedy, money hungry people. And all we care about is massive profits. And, Yeah, I mean, I'm sure you have your big multi-million-dollar hedge fund corporations out there where it is. It's numbers on a bottom line. But for us, at the end of the day, I mean, yeah, we're going to make less profit, but this woman's going to be able to walk away with something in her pocket and be able to move on a little bit easier than before. And at the end of the day, we want to do more deals like this because we know in the current market we're in, there's going to be a lot more foreclosures. I mean, we get daily you get a list every week of active foreclosures, evictions, all these things. And the foreclosure list is starting to grow because of what's going on in the current market. And there's going to be, it's going to be like, I'd rather do 10 of those deals and make a little less money than do 1 or 2 of those deals where we take all the profit and make all the money. Because to me, we can help 10 people and then we can still make money. We're still going to be profitable. I mean, it is a business. I mean, we're not a charity organization. So, I mean, we are going to make a profit, but I also believe that we can make profits in the right way without, being greedy. You know what I mean? Again, like I said when we started, that's what I love about real estate. There's more than enough money to go around. I mean, it's, $1 trillion a year industry. There's money everywhere. So it's like, we don't need to be greedy. And we realize that if we do it the right way, more deals are going to come to us, because that's really what we're wanting to do, is really do more of these deals, get the word out, and have it to where people are coming to us and say, hey, like, you're the guys that help people out with the foreclosures, right? And it's like, yeah, that's exactly what we do, and we're trying to get creative in that, even with, if it's not a foreclosure situation, but the house needs to be sold, and to get maximum value out of it, it needs a roof and HVAC and paint, and the seller doesn't have the money to paint. Great, we'll come in and do it, and then at closing, you'll pay us back plus a percentage for loaning the money to go ahead and do that, because nobody's doing stuff like that. Like, there's a lot of times where a deal doesn't make sense, but then if you slap a new roof on it and HVAC and some paint, well, now the deal makes perfect sense, and then the seller can walk away and make some money. And I mean, we might not make a lot of money, but at the end of the day, we could help them get the house sold, and we're still going to make a little bit of money, and that's in turn going to send more business our way.
Totally. Man, that's super cool, because that kind of was my next question. Like, what's this, this new business model kind of looking like, and what are things that you're doing in the career now that kind of differ from how you started? Which I'm sure, like you said, you maybe didn't start this way, but you guys are getting creative, finding creative financing and creative ways to help people. So kind of taking a step back from that, how did you build your business, and how did you get started, and what made you interested in wholesaling properties, and how you could help people? Because I think when a lot of listeners hop in any type of real estate podcast, like, the first things they hear is wholesale property, no money down. This is a way you can get into real estate. But someone who's really successful and now is like passing the success off to, like, you have not only a foundation, but you've built such a large scale business that you're now able to get a little more creative to help more and more people. I'm sure that kind of empire that you're building, a lot of people want to kind of know the foundation of how you started and what steps you took, and what you maybe if you could also kind of highlight one shortcut, something a hard lesson you learned, but something that then, grew your business exponentially.
Yeah. Yes. I mean, when getting into it, I started working for a previous wholesale company. And I did that for about 2.5 years. And what got me into it was I just wanted to get into real estate. And I never got into it because, the only way, I never did a lot of research in it. I didn't, get into a lot of real estate investing and stuff like that. I was like, well, if I want to get into real estate, I'm gonna have to be a realtor. And, at the time I was working a regular sales job, and it was like, having to study and do that, and with no guarantees, it was never the right time. And, I was able to find a job. I was working for an oil field company, doing sales for them. And it was just a lot of traveling, a lot of driving. And, I got a random call one day because I had my resume on Indeed, and it was from a wholesale company, the one I previously worked for, and they called me, and I went interviewed, and I took, I got the job, and I loved it because it was sales. I enjoy sales. That's really, I like making deals, I like negotiating, I like doing sales, and so I was working as the dispo manager, which basically, in our business model, you have an acquisitions manager and a dispositions manager. Your acquisitions manager is the one running the appointments in the house. He's working directly with the seller, or she's working with the seller. So that person is in the seller's living room, putting the deal together, getting the contract signed, doing all that. Your disposition manager is on the back side. that person is working directly with your investors. So that person has all the relationships with the investors. That's the person selling the house to the investors. So they're the ones marketing it. They're the ones doing the sales. And I've always been a sales guy. I've always enjoyed it. And so I really liked it. And I realized when I was working for them that this was my thing. You know, I think everybody's kind of got that niche where it's like, you know, this is, you know, what you should do. And that's when I realized, like, this is what I'm supposed to do. Like, I was really good at it. I was very successful at it. I mean, you know, I've done probably, including my time with them and including my time in business with myself, I've probably in the Pensacola area, basically from, you know, Mobile to Panama City in the last 4 years, I've probably done 450 transactions, I would say, as far as deals.
Cow.
I mean, yeah, at one point, yeah, there was a time awesome. at the height of the market when we were in, you know, 2020, 2021, it was 15 to 20 closings a month. Like I was personally responsible for selling 15 to 20 pieces of real estate every single month. And I mean, all of it was 90% of it was investment real estate. You know what I mean? It was houses that needed to be fixed up. But that's kind of where that's kind of where things kind of started going off on a different path, because as, you know, started to work in that business, realizing, hey, you know, that we started doing wholesale deals that were not your traditional wholesale deals, you know, and it was a house that could pass inspection. It was a house where everything was fine on it. The realtor could have listed it, but for some reason we ended up with the lead. Our guy set the appointment and we ran the appointment and they accepted the offer we took. And it's like, well, we can just turn this around and list this house on the MLS and still sell it and do it extremely fast. And that was kind of the first little creative thing we realized, is that it's wholesale, but it's not really wholesale, because everybody always thought of wholesale. Well, I mean, if you're wholesaling, the house is just a crappy house. That's all it is. But we realized that wasn't the case, and it allowed us to be a little more creative, because what we were doing was we're selling these houses. The price, we're getting the seller what they want. The number they gave us is the number they want, because when we sign up a wholesale contract on somebody's house, whether I'm listing it on the MLS or whether we're selling it to one of our investors or whether my company's buying it for one of our flips, there's going to be no fees. There's no commissions. The only thing our seller's paying is whatever taxes they owe on the house, and if they have any liens. So that was when we kind of realized, well, there's another little leg up that I don't think a lot of people are realizing, is some people would rather not deal with a realtor in a traditional real estate situation, you know, for whatever reason, because of the commissions, because of some of these things. You know, people ask me, like, they're shocked when I tell them this, but the most expensive house that I sold a $1.3 million house in Shalimar on the water, and that was a wholesale deal. And every realtor that I would meet at the showing was like, how do you even have this? Like, what, like, you know, this is a house that a realtor lists. And it's like, well, that was when we started learning about this, is that, you know, some of these people just don't want to deal with that. And what it was this guy was like, man, this is a $1.3 million house. If I list it with a realtor, I got to take all of my photos down. I got to keep the house in show condition every day. When they show it, they want me to leave for 3 hours. And that was not the way we operated, because, you know, we told them, look, if you're willing to take X for the house, that's a little bit below where it should be retail. So we can list it below where it should be, and it's going to sell faster and it's going to sell quicker. And nobody cares if your family photos are in the house or if you and the wife are sitting on the back porch while we're walking through doing a showing, because none of that stuff is relevant, because they're realizing they're getting a deal on an exceptional property for an exceptional price. And it was that's what kind of led us into starting to do some of that, because those deals tended to be very profitable, because we make quite a bit more money than the normal assignment fee, you know, than just, you know, selling a house that needs to be fixed up. And that kind of started getting us into the creative mindset. And then that's, you know, me and my business partner had some falling out with the company, you know, just those things happen, you know, money and things like that just ended up working out. So we decided to go out and, you know, like, we can do this on our own, and I think we can do it better. Because one of the big things that we did that necessarily they weren't doing when we started there was, you know, a lot of wholesalers don't tell people they're wholesaling the house. You know, I mean, you guys know that. That's the biggest issue with wholesalers and people is, you know, wholesaler says they're, you know, buying my house cash, and everybody knows, like, 9 times out of 10, if a seller tells me they have 2 cash offers, my first question is, do you know if they're real cash offers or are they fake cash offers? Because there's a difference, you know. And that was just the way the business model has always been. And we, you know, when we were working at the previous company, we told them, hey, why are we telling these people we're buying it cash if we're not buying the house cash? Like, we would probably get a lot further with them if we said, hey, look, we don't necessarily want to buy the house cash, but this is what we can do. And we realize that goes a long way if you're transparent with these people. So that's one of the things that we do. Transparency is very, very big for us, with my company. It's one of the biggest things that we do. And we're going to be transparent. We're going to tell you, like, because we buy a lot of houses. Me and my business partner do a lot of flips, and we partner with some other people that do a bunch of flips. So we always have several projects running. So we do buy a couple houses a month. So if I'm going to buy a house cash and I tell you I'm buying it cash, I'm going to buy that one cash. But if I'm not, I'm going to tell you that. I'm going to say, hey, look, this is not one that we're interested in, but I can still get you what you want, and we can still do it in a 30-day time frame. And we're going to do it on the wholesale route, and we're going to push it through our investor list, and we're going to send it out to all our guys, and one of them is going to jump on it. Or, there's certain situations where people need more of a retail number. And it's like, look, if that's what you're looking for and you don't want to go the traditional route of the realtor and all of this stuff, we can list the house for you on the MLS. We'll put the house for you on the MLS. We'll get it sold. We'll make it quick and easy. We'll still blast it through our buyers list, and we'll just try to get this done. So whatever avenue we're going to go with it, they're well aware of it, because I realize, you see a lot of these wholesale deals where the wholesaler's like, got the deal posted out, but you can't get in to see it because they have no access, because they told the guys they're buying them cash. Or you want to go look at a house that you want to flip, and they tell you, okay, if anybody asks, you're the contractor. And it's like, how many contractors can you send into the house before the seller's like, okay, you sent 8 contractors over here, like, what are you doing? And it's like, I've seen it. I've seen deals blow up. I've seen people get upset, and it's put people in bad situations. I've got a deal currently right now that's a previous wholesaler had. And they did exactly that. They told the people they were buying it cash, weren't buying it cash, drug it out for like 60 days. Now the people are 3 months behind on the payment, and the property should have already been sold. And, we ended up getting that deal because we told them, look, here's the deal. I think we can sell it at this number. This is where it needs to be at. But we absolutely are not going to buy this house. Like, it's just not one that we're interested in, but I think we can help you. And just the fact that we were upfront and honest with them, they were like, well, let's just see what we can do, because we're in a bind now and we need help. And you guys are at least being upfront and honest and telling us what you're going to do. We've gotten more deals and more contracts by being upfront and honest with people, because people call us back and say, yeah, those other guys that gave me a cash offer wasn't a real cash offer. And even though it was higher than yours, we're still going to go with your offer because we trust you guys to get it done because you were honest with us.
Integrity is everything. So, and it definitely shows through, with your company. I was curious, when you tell people you'll list them on the MLS, or you guys charge like a flat dollar fee for that, or do you still do like a percentage, or is every deal different?
It does depend on the deal, but 90% of the time we just put them on our standard assignment contract, because our contract does give us the power to list on the MLS on behalf of the seller, because we do have a limited power of attorney built in there that they're allowing us permission to list on their behalf. And so we just negotiate a number that makes sense for them and for us. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, like I said, that's the other thing about wholesale. It's wholesale. We're working on volume. We don't need to make $30,000, $40,000, $50,000, $60,000 on every deal. You know what I mean? If we can get somebody out of the house, get it sold, get it moved, and they can get on to the next step, and we make $4,000 or $5,000, great. You know what I mean? That's just as good if we make $20,000 or $30,000. At the end of the day, we're working on volume, and it's like, as long as we can cover costs and we make a little bit of profit, we really are not scared of any deal. So really, it's just basically a number, and whatever number we give them, all they're paying out of that is their taxes. So they're not paying, when we list it on the MLS, we list it out there with a commission. Like, if there's a buyer's agent that brings a buyer on it, they're going to get paid. That's coming out of our assignment fee. Any of the closing costs that, the seller's going to have to pay in the negotiation of the contract, that'll just come out of our assignment fee. Like, we handle all that stuff. So it's kind of like, it's almost like them having a realtor that's going to negotiate all that stuff for them, but also on top of it, not let them have to pay it. When a realtor tells you they're going to sell your house for $250, it's going to be $250 minus commissions, minus closing costs, minus all these, concessions and all that stuff. Any of that stuff that we. Yeah, exactly. And that's why, a lot of times we do get deals that, a realtor may have had a realtor in there before, and then we end up getting the deal because the realtor told them they'd listed at $250. But at the end of the day, the $235 offer I gave them is actually a better offer than the realtor listing at $250, because after the $250, all your minuses hit, you're going to be below the $235 number anyways. And a lot of that's usually not set up front. And So it's a little bit easier way, you know what I mean? It's gotten a little bit tougher. You know, obviously the markets are tighter now, so things don't move. It was in 2020 and 2021. It was easy. You know what I mean? You could almost put anything on the MLS and it would, you know what I mean, it would sell. You could put a cardboard box on the MLS and it would sell. You know, and have five offers all over ask. You know, and it's not like that anymore. And I think that's one of the benefits though that our sellers are going to get with us is, you know, I handle things differently because I am a salesperson, and not that realtors are not salespeople. I know a lot of good realtors that I work with, but you know, that's one of the things I pride myself on is I'm going to actively try to sell your house. We're not just going to stick it on the MLS. I'm going to put it on the MLS. It's going to get marketed. I'm going to be talking to people daily. Like if an agent comes through the house and shows it, they're going to talk to me. They're going to give me feedback. I want to know, what did you like? What didn't you like? What did the buyer not like? Because that's the other thing that we're doing with these sellers is there are some times where the numbers don't work. There are some times where it's like, hey, you know, we thought 180 would work. We can make it work for 180. And, you know, we've listed it out there and every single offer we're getting is, you know, 170, 175. Well, then we can go back to the seller and say, hey, look, this is kind of what we're seeing on the market. This is all the places we've put it. This is everything we're seeing. We can leave it and continue to keep trying at 180. But I know your guys' main motive was time and to do this quickly. So if we're wanting to move it quickly, we now know that if we have it right here, we can take one of these offers and get this done, you know, in 10 days versus, you know, continuing to drag this out. So that's the other thing that we're going to do too, is we're going to, if we don't get it right on the first time, we're going to know what the issue is. We're not just going to be sitting there like, well, it didn't sell. I don't know what to tell you, you know?
Mm-hmm. Totally. I think that you left a couple really cool things in there that I'm sure the listeners are curious on. You said that your business is based on volume, right? So that's something that I'm sure a lot of people, when they're new and they're hopping in, they're like, how do you get to that point? Can you tell some people how they can get volume outside of all the wonderful things that you're doing right now? Right. I think that everything that you're doing, you had to build a foundation to be able to get these leads and talk to people who aren't necessarily using a traditional realtor, plus all of the wholesale deals that you're doing. But to get to that point, kind of what is that how-to step?
Yeah. So the scalability piece, I mean, just starting out, that's the one thing about wholesale is it's really an easy business to get into because there's really no barriers to entry. You don't need a lot to get into it, which I mean, it's good. It's good, but it's also bad for competition, so to speak, because there's a lot of people that get into it. But right. It's not a bad thing. It's just, you know, all you got to really do is, I mean, you can get on PropStream, you can get on PropWire, you can get on some of these sites and pull lists. I mean, you could pull a vacant house list and skip trace it for $250, and then just sit there in your living room and start calling these people. You know what I mean? Hey, like,
that's cool.
Yep. Yeah. Is this Marriott 1234 Main Street? Like, I see, you know, your house came up on one of our vacant property lists. Like, is that something you'd be interested in selling? And then that's how the conversation starts. So, I mean, you can start yourself, you know what I mean? And we obviously, you know, we started that out on our own doing that. But I mean, we've got a lead manager now that makes those calls because, you know, again, realizing they're specialized people that, you know, I'm not good at sitting still. I'm not good. You know, I'm always moving and doing stuff. I can't sit at the desk all day and pound phones for 8 hours, but there's a lot of people that are really good at that. And that is their skill set. And they can
how'd you find your lead manager?
So it was somebody that we had worked with previously. She's actually, our lead manager is an expat. She's from the United States, but she lives in Belize. Okay. And she works for us, and that's where most of our support team is, that's on the phone. And that's what we like about it is they're Americans. So, you know, it's not like somebody's calling you with an accent that you don't understand. And I mean, she understands the business very well. And it's also one of those things too, is we help her out as well too. Cause I mean, we don't pay what the going rate for Belize would be. We pay them more money than they would generally make at another job. So they actually make a very good living. You know, it's not like we're not outsourcing out there because we're trying to get cheap labor. I mean, the cost is a little bit less, you know, than if you were hiring somebody in the States, but there's not a lot of jobs that pay very well like this out there. And with the business that we do, there is enough revenue generating where that can be a very good position, especially when that person is putting a lot of appointments. Because I mean, you know, our lead manager is good. She'll schedule 5 or 6 appointments a week. And I mean,
Nice.
starting out, it's tough starting out. That's one thing I'll say. It's not for the faint of heart, because it's going to be a grind. You know what I mean? Anybody that's been successful in wholesale will tell you when they started out, they spent most of their days just pounding phones or knocking on doors and, doing stuff like that. And we did a lot of that to start out. I mean, we still do a lot of that. I still make calls myself a lot of times. I mean, we'll still go knock doors, run appointments, stuff like that. But, once you get in there, then you can start scaling up, once you get a deal or two, because, generally if you're going to do an assignment, if you're going to close a wholesale deal, you're probably going to have a 15 or 20 grand assignment fee. And you think about it, that goes a long way to jumping off a business. You know what I mean? If you get your first deal and you got 15 or 20 grand, then you can dump some money into marketing, then you can start sending out some mailers and start doing some stuff like that. Because it's one of those things, once you start doing that, you have to continually feed into that. You can't send, 1,000 pieces of mail and then not send some for a while. And then, once you start sending it, it just has to stay on repeat.
Consistent.
So yeah, it's got to be consistent with it, because it can be frustrating at times, because I mean, you can see the dollars going out and like, well, hey, we haven't had a lot of deals come in for as much money as we send out. But that's just part of the business, and that's kind of what branched us out into getting a little bit more creative, because that's where the foreclosure stuff came in, because that's a service that people will seek out. There are 90 million wholesalers out there. I mean, anybody can be a wholesaler tomorrow if they want to. They can, if you pick up a phone and call somebody and ask them if their house is for sale, you're wholesaling now. You know what I mean? It's really it's literally that easy. So many people are doing it, but it's using the expertise that we've, gained over the last 4 or 5 years in the business of how can we use the resources we have and create a better service for people that people are actually going to seek out. And that's where the foreclosure piece came into, because that's something that people are going to seek out and look for.
Yeah, that's awesome. I think something else that I'm kind of curious on, you said that there's marketing, right? So those are built-in overhead costs. Like what are some structured guerrilla marketing tactics maybe that you had that are low cost, easy entry? I know you had mentioned PropStream.
Yes.
Pulling a list is probably a good one. Do you have a couple more?
Yeah.
Like a lot of people when they're listening or looking on YouTube, it's like, get a sign, make a bandit sign, put your number out there, let people know what you're doing. Do you have any tricks of the trade?
Yeah, bandit signs are really awesome. I know people do you see them everywhere and you're like, there's no way those things work. They work. People call off those bandit signs. And I mean, awesome. and what I'll tell you, what I found in my experience, we have super nice printed ones, with the company logos on and everything, and the numbers and everything like that we put out. And then we've also just got blank white ones where we'll take a black marker and write, if we've got one that we're selling, we'll write, 3-1 fixer upper for sale with the number on it, and just go stick them around the house. The ones that are handwritten get more phone calls on them than the actually company printed signs that are.
That's interesting. Nice. That's a good little nugget there. I love it.
Nate Berger from the Berg Group, he said the same thing, that the Sharpie signs are surprisingly the best.
They are, man. And I mean, you think about it, it costs like $200 for like a whole pack of them. And, usually you get one deal, it's going to be probably 15 or 20 grand. You know what I mean?
True.
Like you can make 15 or 20 grand off of a $200 investment, but I always go back to the biggest thing is you gotta be able to work. You gotta be able to get out there.
You gotta put the time in.
Yeah, because you're gonna have to sit there and you're gonna have to write all these signs out. You're gonna have to go out in these neighborhoods and stick these things out there. You're gonna have to do that kind of stuff. Another one that we use that works surprisingly well is door hangers. You can get on Canva.
Door hangers, love it.
Yeah. Print 500 door hangers for $150, and then you just literally find it's easy to identify a neighborhood. The door hangers tend to work well because it's a house that you're identifying. I'm looking at a house and I'm like, that's a house that we want to contract because it's one that we would buy and flip. It's a good flip house. Go stick a door hanger on it. Those tend to work surprisingly well.
That's a good one that I haven't heard. I like that a lot.
Yeah, and then you can also. Along with the door hanger effect, you can do it with the door hangers, or even if let's say you don't have the money to spend $150 on door hangers, go out to Walmart and get you a couple packs of Post-it notes and write a Post-it note and stick it on the front door. Hey, this is John, interested in buying your house. Give me a call at, and your phone number, and slap it on the front door. That works surprisingly well too.
A Post-it note. I love it. I love it, dude.
Mhm.
So all of this, you're laying the foundation. You're creating such an awesome business model. Um, One that I hope a lot of listeners, look forward to emulate. Right? Like we want to get the business, in the forefront of people's mind. Alternative ways to sell your home, especially now, with all the deals that are happening with the National Real Estate Association, things like this. I think it really could allow a great avenue for a whole new territory of wholesalers or real estate consultants, like you said. So what is kind of your lifetime goal or the in game look like for you? It could be with the business or just you, what does
Right.
that kind of look like?
I would say what I'm looking at lifetime long-term goal is to be able to build, a sustainable business that, we can, we're trying to, what we're doing is trying to build a model that we can then scale the model into other markets. And
Love it.
our thing is not that we want to, I have no aspirations to run a several $100 million a year company or multi-million-dollar company. Like I'm not trying to be the CEO that runs all that. Me and my business partner, the premise we work on is we like to work with other partners. You know what I mean? So, what that would look like is once we get the model lined out with, all these different things we're doing, like we're calling it the foreclosure saves, where we're going in and helping these people with foreclosures. And, we're doing renovations. We've got a bunch of different things wrapped together and the wholesaling and all of that. Once we get that kind of business model lined out and running smoothly in Pensacola, then it's, hey, what's another good market that we could branch into? Orlando, that's a great market. Great. Is there somebody already working in Orlando that we could partner up with that we could then, I won't call it franchise, but, similar to something to that, where it's like, and then, because at the end of the day, that's what we'd be doing. It's spreading wealth. Like what we're learning, it's like I don't need to nor want to be in charge of all that, dealing with all that. It would be much better to find partners to bring in and then help elevate people up and help them get into doing the same thing we're doing. And of course,
Totally.
we're going to make a small percentage of it there, but they're making most of the money because they're running that fraction of that business in that particular market.
For sure. I love it, man.
A really cool model and stuff. And I mean, I think you're definitely well on your way to getting that established, because you got a good system going on here in Pensacola. What are some of your favorite books, maybe your top 3 favorite books that kind of helped you with either real estate or business that you would recommend to our listeners to either read or listen to on Audible to help them kind of get to where you are?
Yeah, I'll give you my 2 favorite ones. I've read them and listened to them several times. I like to do that at the gym sometimes, is just put audiobooks on while I'm at the gym. I know it's a little weird. You wouldn't think you'd be wanting to work out at the gym and listen to audiobooks, but I like doing that sometimes. So my top 2 are going to be Never Splitting the Difference.
Love it.
That's a great book. I don't know if you guys read that book, but
I would say
anybody that's doing anything with sales, and it's not just sales related. I mean, life in general, but I mean the negotiation and just the understanding sales and the psychology of it, and just understanding how to walk somebody through that process and make it a favorable deal for everybody. That's one of my favorites. And then
Chris Voss is the man, dude.
Yes, he is. He really is.
He's the man.
It's amazing. The first time I read that book, I was like, wow. It blew my mind. It really did. Because,
totally.
And I thought I was good at sales at that point, and I thought I knew what I was doing. I was like, this is game changer. It really is great. And then my second one is Extreme Ownership by Jocko. That's one of my. I mean, that's probably it's a tie between the 2. I really can't decide which 2 are my more favorite, and those things are like Extreme Ownership is one of the things that's part of our core values here with the company, because at the end of the day, if one of my employees failed, it's because of me. I did something. I didn't give them what they needed to succeed. And, that's how everybody needs to look at everything. If you start looking at things around you, that everything that's happening to me is my fault, your life is going to start becoming a lot different, because you're going to start making changes, and things are going to happen because you're making those changes. It's like, it was a hard thing for me. I'll be honest. It was not, the first time I read that book, I was kind of like, man, it was very eye-opening, because it was like, when you really put it that way, you take a step back and look at it, like, that really can change the way your life can go if you really just start taking extreme ownership of everything that goes on in your life. You know, it's one of the reasons why, like, I go to the gym. You know, I'm an early morning gym person. I'm up. You know, I don't go as early as I used to. I used to get up at 2:30 every morning and go to the gym at 3. You know, I don't go as early now, but I'm usually up at 4 every morning. You know, going to the gym, and everybody always asks me, like, why do you do that? Like, what's the whole point? And part of the reason I did that was because it was hard. You know, getting up at 2:30, 3 o'clock in the morning never gets easy. It doesn't matter how often you do it. It never gets easy. It's always going to be hard, but that's part of it. Like, it's not supposed to be easy. You know, the way I look at it is, by the time I leave the gym and hit the office, I've had a harder day than most people have their entire week. Like, I've dealt with way more adversity and hard stuff than, you know, so when a problem pops up on my desk at 10 o'clock in the morning, it's like, oh, this is no big deal. Like, it'll be fine. We'll breeze right through this.
Yeah, love that mental attitude. Extreme ownership was a mental game changer, and no, that's awesome. I can definitely testify that you are at the gym early, because every time I've seen you there, it has been, I think, in the 5 o'clock a.m. hour. Yeah, definitely the man. And yeah, I like I said, that extreme ownership attitude is definitely you know, something that I recommend that everyone read as well, because definitely a great book by Jocko Willink.
Yeah,
I agree. And
Jocko's the man.
He is. And one thing I'll tell people is, like, you can find a lot of stuff in these books, but, you know, like, with starting a company, one of the big things for us is having a set of core values. Like, what is your company and what are you trying to do? Like, we have this is our set of core values here that we have in our company, and it's literally how we make every decision that we do in business. We action, baby. Yeah. We hire by this, we fire by this, we run everything we do by this. Like, if you work for us and you don't meet these sets of core values, you're not going to work for us. You know, massive action beats skill, and action with skill beats all. 2, extreme ownership. I can control all outcomes and I'm responsible. 3, fail forward. ABG, always be growing, learn from every situation. 4, solution-driven mindset. We see opportunities, not problems. And 5, integrity and clarity. Do as you say and say as you do. The last 2, 4, and 5 are 2 of my favorite ones on the list, because, you know, I said we don't use the word problem in the office. We only have opportunities. Everything is an opportunity. The guys know that. Everybody knows that. We don't talk about problems because we don't have them. We only have opportunities. And then the integrity and clarity. We want to be people that we do as we say, and if we say we're going to do it, we're going to do it. That's just the type of people we are. And so I would say that's another big thing too. If you're looking to get into business, even if it's just you, even, you know, if it's one guy that's going to start wholesaling on his own, what is your core values? Where are you trying to go as an organization, as a person? And, you know, I do think that's a big part of helping us be successful, because it starts to create a culture in the office. You know what I mean? It creates everybody on the same mindset, on that same track of understanding, hey, this is what's all expected of all of us. And that's the thing, we're all held to those standards. The guys know, if I'm slipping, call me out on one of these. If I'm not adhering to one of these core values, nobody's beyond reproach in the company, including the owners. I mean, we are all on board with this. This is the mantra of the company, and this is what we're going to do.
Yeah, that's so good. Our next lunch meeting, you and I need to establish what our core values are going to be for our company, because I know
you and I are so aligned with everything that I know that us putting it, we just need to put a pen to paper. But yeah, dude, I love that. Which, like, outside of starting core values, and this is one of my favorite, like, in closing questions, is like everything leading to that, understanding yourself. If someone wanted to do and was starting out today, what would be the best piece of advice you could give them if they would do what you do, outside of all, you know, making core values and everything you just laid on the line right there? What do you think is the best foundation to start, you know, to hopefully build a business like what you have?
I would say the best foundation to start, it really all goes back to mindset. And just what I would say is, just don't give up. Like, you've got to understand that going into this, there are going to be failures, because without failures, there is no success. The failure is part of it. It's going to happen. Like, I don't let these opportunities, because we don't have problems, I don't let the opportunities bother me, because that's the whole thing. You know, we used to joke about it, and then it really wasn't a joke anymore. It was actually, we used to, you know, some of these sellers, you know, all these people that we deal with do have a lot of problems. There's a lot of stuff going on, and, you know, it can get frustrating when you're dealing with some of these deals. You know, they can't move, they need a moving truck, they can't get out the house, just a myriad of problems. And it's like, we would joke about it because, like, if these people didn't have problems, we'd be out of business. These people are coming to us because they have problems. And that's what we've realized, is we have become expert problem solvers. And so, like, I would tell somebody, if you're getting into this business, just, you got to go in there with that mentality that you understand that your day is going to be full of those opportunities, because that's what you're doing, is you're solving all these people's problems. And there's going to be a lot of failures, but if you just keep pushing, that's why we've been so successful, because we do deals that are not supposed to be done. I can't tell you how many deals we've closed and sold that multiple people said there's no way that can ever happen. That's not a doable deal. Of course it is. We just have to figure out the way to do it. Every problem has a solution. You just don't know what the solution is. You have to find the solution. And I'd say that mindset is the key to the foundation that you've got to have to get into this business. Because, you know, I wish I could sit here and say it's going to be easy, but it's not. It's absolutely not.
Right.
You know, one of my favorite quotes is, nobody ever said it would be easy, just that it would be worth it. And I mean, that's the God's honest truth. I mean, it's not easy, but it's worth it. And especially the way we're trying to do it, it is a little bit more fulfilling, because you know, seeing these people that were down on their luck or in a bad spot and didn't know what they were going to do or how they were going to get out of it. And then, you know, we get it done, get the house sold, and they move on to the next steps. Just the joy in their face of having that burden taken off of them. Because as much as real estate can be a blessing, it can be a huge burden to people too, if they're in it in the wrong capacity.
100%. And then, just another kind of shout out for Colby, that one of my employees actually is a tenant from one of his houses, and she actually even talked about, you know, what a great landlord you know, he is and stuff. So yeah, just kind of
gotta love to hear that, man. Gotta love to hear that. That's awesome.
Yeah, because you know, everyone's, you know, wants to say that, you know, wholesalers are bad guys and landlords are bad guys, and Colby is the best example of that. You can be a quality person in the real estate business and do things with integrity and taking care of people, and still be profitable, as well as have the best looking mustache out of everybody.
Thank you. I appreciate that, man, because I really do. I've worked hard on that, and that's, you know, I take that as a big part of my job, is education, you know, to educate realtors, to educate sellers, to educate everybody that we are not normal wholesalers. We are not the scum of the earth. We're not here just to make a profit. We genuinely care about people, and we do want to help them, because that's why we're in this business. You know, like just like you were saying, Sam, with the rentals, like, you know, we try to take good care of our tenants, and like we work with the people. Like, if you got bad credit, that's fine. Like, I understand that. Everybody's been there. Like, mine's not been the greatest at times either. Like, everybody needs help now and then. Like, you got a job, you know, can you prove your income? Then we can look past some of these things. And I think, you know, because when we got into the rental market, everybody was, you know, you got to make 3 times the rental amount, and you got to have an 800 credit score. And it's like, we were looking at that. I was talking with my partner, and I said, if they had all those things, they'd just go buy a house. They wouldn't be renting. Like, there's a reason. And it's, you know, and I realized that if you help people, they'll help you back. And our tenants are all great. We don't have problems with them, because we take good care of them and they take good care of us. They pay on time. They don't tear up the houses. You know, something breaks, they call us, and that does make a difference. So that's something I really worked hard on and try to pride myself on, is to try to do real estate in the most upstanding way that we possibly can.
That's awesome, man.
That, yeah, for sure. Well, man, man, it's been a great episode. You know, so much valuable information.
Thanks so much.
Where's a good place for people to reach out for you and get more information and see your company, and so they can work with you in the future?
Yeah, definitely. So we've got 2 websites. Our company's fractioned in 2 different sides, because we separate the buying side and the selling side, is not to confuse sellers if they go on a site and see houses for sale, but, you know, I thought you guys were buying it, this was getting sold. So As Is 850 is the buying side of the company that does all the acquisition side. And then that website is asis850.com. So you can go to that site and you can learn more about the company. You can, put in information there if you've got a house you want us to come look at. And then on the selling side, for any of the investors that are looking for properties, we always have off-market properties. That's going to be the 850 off-market site. So that is 850offmarket.com, which is the selling side. So that's where we sell everything through. So that's where all the wholesale houses and deals are getting sold through. We also sell and list all of our own flips. So all of our own flips are being sold through there. We do some new construction. So they've got new construction houses that are popping up on the site as well too. So that's a good spot to go. And we have a buyer's list there too for any investors that want to put in their info on there to get deals first, because we list everything we get on the MLS, but a lot of these deals will keep off market for a week or week or two on our exclusive buyers list. So 850offmarket.com is where you would go to get on that buyers list. And then of course, my cell number is I work off my cell. Anybody's welcome to call me if you got questions, want to learn more about the business, or want to talk about properties or look at buying something or selling something. I can be reached on my cell at 337-962-7676.
Awesome,
Dude.
man. Now we definitely recommend people reach out to you if they're in anywhere between, you said, Mobile to Panama City, that's interested in selling a property, or if you're interested in checking out his properties he has listed, go check them out. Will, where's a good place for people to see you and get in contact with you?
Elite Real Estate Podcast.com, baby. You can like, subscribe, check out all of our episodes. Everything's right there. Same type of thing as Colby. You can tell us what type of investor you are. We can get your information and you can track the deals as well as all of our episodes getting released. Find us on anything that you stream, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, etc. So really, really excited. You can check us out on Instagram as well. Sam's Instagram is way better than mine. So where can they find you, Sam?
Yeah. So obviously I share the website with Will, so reach us out there. But also you can see me on Instagram at Sam_FloridaMan. So check me out there, and feel free to shoot me a DM if you guys have any deals you're looking at that you want a second opinion on, or if you've got a deal you want to sell. So any of us would be interested in checking out your Northwest Florida deals. So please contact us. And man, Colby, again, it was a pleasure having you on. I definitely think the three of us need to get together for lunch.
We definitely do.
Next couple weeks.
Many thanks to you, and then again, big shout out to Clean Eats allowing us to put this podcast together. Always got to give a big shout out, but not only I've been crushing some Clean Eats lately. Obviously, Sam has, and then man, Colby too at Clean Eats. So that's pretty cool. So
I catch Colby in the parking lot sometimes, so usually in and out. So he's always on the move. But yeah, man, hey, that's one thing I got to thank you for. I appreciate you supporting my business here in Pensacola, and coming and picking up meals from Clean Eats.
Absolutely, man. You got the best food in town, man. If you're trying to eat clean and you don't have time to do the meal prep yourself, that's where it's at.
Man, I appreciate it. Well, man, we'll catch up with you again here soon, and we'll try to set up a lunch here in the future. But thanks again for coming on the podcast, and good luck with the rest of this year on keep on killing it with all these sales.
Awesome. Thanks, guys. Thanks for having me on. I appreciate it.
Thanks, man.
All right.